Hello, welcome on Horizons, episode 75 review. This is a huge one as Liko gets a story about Lucius and the explorer's journey to Raku. Seems to be getting an episode pretty much set in the past, which is something I've been dying for, and it absolutely delivers. It's a bit of a disaster story, and I think of other pieces of media that focus on tragedy in the past, and they always hit. This one's no different. Firstly, we get presented in a box format, which makes it feel like a film, with a young Lystal escaping some pursuers with a cloaked man nearby. She is Terapagos and they want to steal it, and that's when Lucius jumps in like Batman. It's maybe the funniest thing how he says that requires to deal with these like crappy Route 1 dog Pokemon. Immediately, Lucius and Lystal connect over their legendary Pokemon. We find out Lystal got Terapagos in Area 0, and Lucius respects how she's kept it safe. We get some levity too as Terapagos plays with Rayquaza, and Rayquaza throws it up in the air. It's really nice to have a scene with these legendary Pokemon. Like, yeah, they might be at a high level than your like Togepi's and your B-Barrels, but still, they're still Pokemon, and they still get to see them acting like that. It's a nice change. Especially with Rayquaza, as every time we've met it, it's been ferocious. At a camp, Lucius introduced this to the Scarlet book, as has information to Terapagos, and it's also a good display of Lucius' character, as he believed what Heath had wrote, and evidently having that belief worked out as he actually met Terapagos. Then we talk about Lucius' belief in Raku from old fairy tales, and that exists. Lystal wants to join, and look for the beauty of the world. I think it's kind of wild how we find out that Rayquaza was Lucius' first Pokemon here. Like, my brother has cracked out the gate. We get flashback images of all the 6 heroes being met, and in general from Lystal's words, you understand his love of Pokemon connects to Pokemon in general. It paints him as a really swell dude. He's got real innocence to him. When anyone asks if he believes in Raku, his response is always naturally, as it feels right to him. It makes sense that Raku is real. Lystal might believe in him, but the general consensus is that it doesn't, and he gets people mocking him for it. And you can really tell who has the pants this relationship because he takes it in fairly good faith and she shouts at people who mock him. In a cafe, they meet Gibeon, who actually just destroys some people with facts and logic by showing him the data he's analysed regarding Raku. This is a chance meeting, and Lucius invites him along. And we're told that real bond formed between the three of them, and that Lucius and Gibeon were alike. This feels reflected in their partner Pokemon, the Black Rayquaza and the White Zygarde, which leads to Lucius naming the group. And the three would eventually reach Raku. And yeah, Raku seems like paradise. Pokemon are happy, it's untouched by people. Even legendary Pokemon are surviving here. We see Latias, Latios, Terrakion, Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno. It being like this interests Gibeon and why this environment seems so perfect, and the area that seems withered makes it even more curious, and in a dead area, there's a bunch of crystals that wait. Gibeon approaches him and takes a sample, feeling the energy and it's clearly powerful, making this giant trees and everything. I respect so much that Lucius wants to leave even after we went through to get here. He doesn't want to cause any danger by messing with nature. They don't know if they'll be affected by being exposed, so he wants to go, and Lystal quickly agrees while Gibeon is questioning if they should just pretend they never saw it. And back at camp, they can't find Gibeon when an explosion happens. Rayquaza flies back to the crystals, where Gibeon and Zygarde are digging them up. Lucius tries to reason with him. It's beyond human control, but Gibeon sees eternal possibilities with the energy it offers. Raku is their eternal paradise. And the crystals, which, come on, they're Rakurium, release a gas and raid wild Pokemon, forcing trees to grow and increase rate. And the growth of Rakurium threatens the world's destruction as the trees die too. The 6 heroes all come out to aid with Moltres flying over, where we get a recreation of a flashback where Lucius had hugged Moltres when Liko and Restus met them. Unfortunately, their attacks don't do anything to Rakurium, and Zygarde seemingly rebels, so it releases all its cells to try and contain it, leaving Zygarde in its 10% form. And just really quickly, I like that it rebelled against Gibeon here, because Zygarde is still a Pokemon that protects the ecosystem. The fact to give it its power for that and try to do what's right makes it feel a bit more layered as a Pokemon. Because we know with Gibeon in present day, and it looked quite angry before. Oh, and then Gibeon falls into a hole and he's gone. Lucius and the heroes don't give up, which prompts Lystal and Terapagos to fight too, as Terapagos becomes its stellar form and takes some heroes and Lucius to contain Rakurium, where he promises he'll meet everyone again and live on Raku. He tells Lystal to leave and brings us back full circle to Lucius' focus on belief. He's believed in the past and myths and stories before, but here he tells her he believes in future, their future, obviously referring to their child and future family. And Rakurium seems to explode, reverting Terapagos to the crystal and none of the heroes in sight. It's also really sad as we cut back to present day, as she had to never tell Layla about Lucius, as she wants Raku to be forgotten to prevent any more tragedies. She didn't need to be remembered, but Layla was the proof that her and Lucius had existed, which felt really heartbreaking because Layla would never get to know her father, and evidently no one else in her family really did than now. They fooling Lystal about where they had found the heroes, and she apologises for not finding them, and that the heroes are still intend to keep their promise to him. She can't tell them where Raku exactly is, as they are adrift at sea and had Rayquaza's help, which means that Rise and Voltac will still have to forge her own path, which I'm happy with. They don't have all their answers solved by Lystal's presence. She does suggest Gibeon, but before Liko can tell her about Gibeon, it's time to say goodbye. She thanks Liko and Diana and the friends. She got to see results of Lucius' sacrifice. She asks Liko to look after Terapagos, says she's happy to see Terapagos one more time, and calls Liko Terapagos' partner. It's pretty heartbreaking to see Terapagos go in full-on tears, initially trying to pull away from Liko but embracing the hug, as she promises to still take him to Raku and fulfill his wish. It's really sad because honestly Terapagos has seen a person it really cared about for the first time in 100 years, and just like that she's gone again. And without Terapagos is usually a bit goofy, it's a bit hard to see the absolute stream of tears. Terapagos really looks at Liko and Free comes in clutch, handing Liko a Pokeball, which Terapagos eagerly jumps into. Liko thanks her whole family for giving her a chance to meet Terapagos, and she finally has a third Pokemon, Terapagos, even calling it Pagago herself. The next day, Diana sees that her adventure is over. She has confirmation she's related to Lucius and leaves it to Liko and the Rising Rock Tacklers with an offer to be back if they ever need help. They reinforce needing Entei and Black Rayquaza, when Free gets an idea to meet someone called Sodaio. In the Exceed Lab, Spinel and Agate are plotting, where they worry about what Amethio is doing, but Spinel's not worried, as he'll be the one to go to Raku with Gibeon. I mean, this was just excellent, wasn't it? Like, this was amazing. It's just everything I could have wanted out of a flashback episode. But I have seen some criticism saying they wish they got more out of it by making this a 2-part flashback, so they could flesh out the dynamics between Lucius, Lystal and Gibeon as they explore an aim for Raku. And I can agree with that. It would be nice to know more about their bond and make Gibeon's betrayal and clashing viewpoints hit much more harder. It is very reflected in their partner Pokemon. You've got the Black Rayquaza of the sky, White Zygarde of the earth. They're the perfect clashing set of legendaries. They seem more conflict, but mutual respect and care for each other would have been so great. That feels like a somewhat negative way to start this wrap up, when really I love this episode. I think there are intentionally things left open. Like, what if we get a flashback from Gibeon's perspective? For something like how his Rayquaza is his first Pokemon, well, we'll probably get a flashback when the Rising Rock Tacklers get Rayquaza. I appreciate that not every question is answered, as the mystery of the past is a big draw of the series to me. I think everything to go to hell is so bittersweet to watch. And I mean, I have to mention the catch. Like, that was perfect. Seeing Lystal give Liko her blessing that Liko is Terapagos' partner is such a beautiful passing torch moment. And that's even though we've really only just met Lystal. Liko and Terapagos still have managed to create such a wonderful bond from the start of the series, even without knowing what really connected them. Even without the catch, Liko comforting her sobbing Terapagos, promising she'll take it to Raku, would have been such a wonderful moment. She's always just wanted to help and nothing more. It was never about her trying to catch it, but she really deserved this. I'm so happy, and it's really the best catch of the series. Raku itself, I kind of love how it's a bit of an understated paradise. Like, it's a place where Pokemon obviously feel comfortable enough that we see multiple legendaries living there. But in terms of being some grand location like Area Zero or the tree beginning from a Lucario movie, it isn't like that. It is, however, completely untouched by humans to the point of people not believing it, or not knowing where it is. It feels like it could be a Garden of Eden, and I think it does the job well. The fact it has Sinister on the side with Raku killing the environment and causing Pokemon to go to Berserk is such a great twist as well. It has its dangers, and how our heroes will approach that will be interesting. So yeah, this episode has the sour note of Lucius' Pokemon being lost to time, but I'm still interested how the heroes end up scattered across the world, and if Lucius will still be alive. Like, is he frozen at one point in time? And it ends on an optimistic note with Lystal giving her blessing for Liko to be Terapagos' new partner. In the best catch of the series, of course, letting Terapagos move on in a way. This episode is fantastic, one of my favourites for sure.